Hey guys, Mr. Wigan. Today we're going to look at circle graphs and using data to make inferences. Alright, so here's some information. Circle graphs are used when comparing parts of a whole. Each part or sector of the circle graph uses a percent to represent its size. If you add up the percents of each sector, you should get 100%. Alright, so comparing parts of a whole, if we were to look at this whole circle graph, that would be the whole, and then each of these sectors here are the different parts of that whole. Okay, and then it says that each of those sectors, the size is represented by a percent, like cherries 23%, apples 36%, and so on. And if you add up all the percents, they should add up to 100%. Alright, so let's use this circle graph to make some inferences. Alright, first one. What pie was most preferred? All right, so I see coconut cream pie was 3%, pecan pie 8%, pumpkin 30%, cherry 23%, apple 36%. Apple had the highest percent, therefore apple pie was most preferred. Okay, so that's an inference we could make. You know, which one was the most preferred, which one was the highest, depending on what information is in the circle graph, things like that, which one was the lowest, stuff like that. All right, here's another kind of question that we could ask if we're trying to make an inference. If 100 people were surveyed, how many people preferred pumpkin pie? All right, so here's the pumpkin pie sector. There's the 30%. Well, we know that percent means out of 100, so if 30% preferred pumpkin pie and it's out of 100 people surveyed, then we know that 30 people preferred pumpkin pie. All right, that one's easy because it was out of 100. All right, let's take another one where maybe the numbers aren't as easy. So this one says, if 75 people were surveyed, how many people preferred pumpkin pie? All right, so this one, I think of two ways that we've kind of approached problems like this year. You know, we may not have used circle graphs, but we've used data with percents, and we've answered questions about that. So we want to know, if 75 people were surveyed, how many preferred pumpkin pie? And what we do know from the circle graph is that 8% preferred pecan pie. So what I'm basically trying to find is 8% of 75. And when we've seen problems like this year, we've always changed 8% to the decimal form, 0.08. We've always treated of as multiplication, and we've done 0.8 times 75. And 0.08 times 75, of course, is 6. So that would be 6 people. Okay, another way we've done problems like this is we've made proportions. We've taken this 8% and we've written it as 8 over 100, because that's what percent means out of 100. We're taking 8% of 75, and we've learned that of means the denominator, so 75 goes in the denominator, and then we could put x here, and that's what we're solving for. And then there's all kinds of different ways that we've learned to solve proportions. We look for horizontal relationships, vertical relationships, we look to simplify, and then if all else fails, we do cross products. So whatever method you use here to solve, you're going to still get x equals 6, and of course it's x equals 6 people. All right, so there's two methods we could use. Think of it as the 8% of, turn it into a multiplication problem, or make a proportion. We can also make inferences from data in a table. The table shows data from a survey asking people about their favorite ice cream. There were 120 people surveyed. Find the percent of people who chose each flavor as their favorite. So if we look at this table, it says favorite ice cream flavor is the title. We have ice cream flavor, vanilla, chocolate, chocolate mint, Oreo cookie. We have number of people, vanilla 45, chocolate 33, chocolate mint 12, Oreo cookie 30. Okay, so we have numbers of people that chose these as their favorite. And we want to find the percent for each of those. So, a couple different ways we could do it. Once again, I'm going to set up a proportion. And I'm going to start here with vanilla. So we'll say vanilla right here just to remind ourselves. All right, so we're trying to find a percent. So what percent P over 100? And 45 people chose vanilla. And remember, it was out of 120 people surveyed. Okay, and if you're not sure, you can just add these numbers up. 45 plus 33, 78, plus 12, 90, plus 31, 20. So I could always add those numbers up, because sometimes it's not given to you. All right, I can then solve this proportion. Once again, use your different relationships, use cross products, but P is going to turn out to be 37.5. So 37.5 people chose vanilla. All right, let's do chocolate now. Once again, make a proportion. This will be chocolate. And we're looking for P over 100. And we had 33 people out of 120. That's an ugly 33. 33 out of 120. And then once again, we'll solve this proportion. And I get 27.5%. So 27.5% chose chocolate. All right, let's try chocolate mint now. Once again, we're making a proportion. Chocolate mint. And we're looking for P over 100. And it looks like 12 people out of 120 chose chocolate mint. And if I solve that, I end up getting 10% chose chocolate mint. And then last, we'll do Oreo cookie. Make our proportion. P over 100. And 30 people chose Oreo cookie out of 120. And then that turns out to be 25%. And that was Oreo cookie. Alright, and then if you want to double check, if you just go back and add up those percents, they should all add up to 100%. And they do. Alright, now, a circle is 360 degrees around. Okay, we've learned that before. Therefore, the sum of the central angles of each sector must be 360 degrees. So these are that's the central angle of basketball. Here's the central angle of cricket. There's the central angle of chess. There's the central angle for soccer, and there's the central angle for tennis. Okay, the circle graph has percents on it, but if you were to make that circle graph and you wanted to know how big to, make that, you'd have to measure with a protractor, and you would need degrees. So not only are there percents in a circle graph, there's also this idea of, degrees and the measure of these central angles. So we want to take a look at how to find the measure in degrees of the central angle of each of these sectors. Alright, so I'm going to set up a proportion. I'm going to start off with this basketball sector. Alright, basketball, and I'm going to make my proportion. Alright, so I see that basketball is 25%. So I'm going to start off, get that information under 25 over 100. Okay, that's a good place to start. I then need the other side of my proportion. Well, we know that all the way around the circle, like we said, is 360 degrees. So I'm going to put a 360 here. And then this X is going to represent that central angle that we're looking for. All right, once again, we're solving proportions. Look for horizontal relationships, vertical, see if you can reduce. If none of that works, go cross products. But whatever we do here, it's going to turn out that X equals 90 degrees. All right, so basketball, 90 degrees. And if you look, you can see that that looks like a right angle right there, and it looks like it's a 90 degree. angle. Therefore, the central angle is 90 degrees. All right, next one, let's try cricket. That's this guy right here. I'm going to be looking right there. So cricket, I'm going to use that same idea, make a proportion. And cricket's 30%, so that's 30 over 100. Once again, it's out of 360 degrees, and that's x. That's what we're looking for. So then we're going to solve that proportion. And I get 108 degrees. So if I look at that, well, it's definitely greater than 90, so 108 degrees seems reasonable. All right, let's do chess next. Chess is right here. So that's that right there, that sector. Remember, each of these sectors, almost like if you think of this circle graph as a pizza, you know, it's a slice of the pizza pie. All right, so I'll make my proportion. And chess was 12%, so that's 12 over 100. And we know that it's out of 360 degrees. We're solving for x. And when I solve for x, I get 43.2 degrees. All right, now we need to do soccer and tennis. All right, so soccer, that's right here. That's the central angle. And we'll make our proportion. Soccer is 20%, so that's 20 over 100. And we know it's out of 360. And we're solving for x. And once again, we're going to solve this proportion. And I get 66 degrees. And then our last one, that'll be tennis. And there's that central angle. And if we set up that proportion, tennis was 13%, 13 over 100, and a 360 here, x. And if we solve that, we get 46.8 degrees. All right, so those are the 5 sectors. We found out the central angle for those 5 sectors. And if we go back and we take the 66, the 46.8, the 90, the 108, and the 43.2, they'll add up to 360 degrees because together they all are the full circle. All right, so there's a look at some circle graph information and then different ways we make inferences about circle graph. We can solve for, the central angles. We can find numbers of things based on the percents from the circle graph, different things like that. All right, good luck, guys.